Well, the Volunteer Bahamas program is now official. The program was launched moments ago. Prime Minister Ingram brought opening remarks at the launch. The program seeks to match volunteers with organizations and persons who can use positive guidance to steer our youth away from negative influences, including criminality. We now go to Keishla Adderley, who is live at the Sheraton Nassau Beach Resort. Keishla, tell us a bit about the launch.
Shanique, I'm standing in a room filled with people who have made the commitment to get involved. That was a central message here today as Prime Minister the Right Honorable Hubert Ingram launched the National Volunteer Program under the theme, of course, Get Involved. The Prime Minister told the hundreds gathered here at the Sheraton Cable Beach Resort that so far 359 people have registered to take part in this program, and he said there are hundreds more applications being processed. Now, some of the more poignant remarks by the Prime Minister. The government is no substitute for good family life or the role of civil society. The Prime Minister also telling persons here that the government cannot fully address criminality. Now, as I said, hundreds already making the commitment to register through an online process and walking into various ministries. I'm going to let Ms. Carol Roach, who is the Deputy Director of the Department of Information Technology, tell us a little bit more about the registration process.
Yes, it's a simple process. It won't take you more than a minute or two. You simply go to www.bahamas.gov.bs and you look for the beautiful hand symbol that says Volunteer Bahamas. You click on Register Now and you have the opportunity to either register as a volunteer or as an organization. If you click on the volunteer link, it will bring you to the form itself, where you're just asked to fill in basic information, your name, your address, and we would love you to put in your email address, even though it's not a required field, so that we can contact you. Now, you are to fill in all the fields that have the red star at it, and once you've done that, you simply scroll to the bottom and click Submit, and the process is complete.
Are you keeping a running total of the numbers? The Prime Minister said there are 359 applicants the last he checked.
Yes, we had a few more since then, so I think some people, while they were watching the program, went and registered. So we're almost up to about 400, and this does not include the paper forms that are yet to be processed.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roach. Now, they tell me that Boy Scouts should always be ready, so I'm just going to grab Mr. Alex Gibson here. He's from the Scouts Association. He told me he was 73. I'm not sure about that, but he's been involved with the organization for 50 years now. Tell me about how you feel about the government getting involved in pushing volunteerism.
It's really a good idea. We also was looking for help from the past 40 years. We all need, in this organization, we need adult leaders. Without that, we can't carry on the work. We have the boys, but we don't have sufficient leaders.
Now, what has volunteerism meant in your life? You stuck around the Boy Scouts for 50 years for a reason, I guess.
Yes, you have to be dedicated and committed. I love working with the boys. I try to save at least, if only one of them, from going astray.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gibson. Again, the registration process, an easy process that you can go online, fill in the required information. You can also go in, if you're not so computer savvy, to the ministries.
Of course, that's Keishla Smith live at the Nassau Wyndham Resort. The Sexual Offences Act in full force, and Grand Bahama pastor Albert Wiley found out the hard way. Wiley was convicted of unlawful sexual intercourse with a 9-year-old girl back in September. Today, a Supreme Court judge gave him the harshest sentence ever handed down for a crime of this nature, all made possible by the newly amended Sexual Offences Law. Sabrina Brown is on the story tonight.
60-year-old Albert Wiley was sentenced to life in prison. Justice Hartman Longley made his decision after hearing final submissions from the prosecution and defense counsel. Probation officer Andy Lang told the court that Wiley was described by family members and a fellow clergyman as a kind, thoughtful, caring, and respectful individual who zealously pursued the things of God. He said they also stated that a custodial sentence would not be in his best interest. However, Lang said the mother of the victim described Wiley as a lying, deceitful, wicked, and dirty old man who deserves to die in prison. The former police officer was convicted of having unlawful sexual intercourse with his 14-year-old daughter in 1993 and served 4 years at a Majesty's prison. Psychiatrist Dr. John Dillard told the court that during his assessment process, Wiley admitted to having similar feelings and urges while incarcerated. Dr. Dillard added that while his behavior fits the criteria for pedophilia, he believes Wiley can be rehabilitated. Prosecutor Erica Kemp noted that based on the evidence presented, a custodial sentence is appropriate in this case, and she believes Wiley poses a danger and risk to society, particularly children. She said Wiley is deceptive as he continued to live what appeared to be a God-fearing life. Kemp was pleased with Justice Longley's decision.
Well, we feel that it was a reasonable sentence having regard to all the aggravating and mitigating factors involved. And as ministers of justice, we are concerned about basically justice.
Meanwhile, defense attorney Carlson Sherland is concerned that there are no treatments or rehabilitative programs available in the Bahamas for pedophilia.
The doctors say there's no treatment. There's no treatment in the prison. There's no treatment in silence. They diagnose him as a pedophile. There's lots of pedophiles out there, so it's quite obvious that what we need to do is get on the fast track and try to find some programs and treatment for mental illness.
Wiley showed no emotion when his sentence was handed down in court on Tuesday. It was back on September 13th when the father of 11 admitted to having unlawful sexual intercourse with a 9-year-old girl and was convicted. According to the probation report, he said he was sorry and asked the victim and family to forgive him. Sabrina Brown, ZNS News.
Now get this, according to a senior official at the Attorney General's office, Bishop Wiley was convicted and sentenced under the old sexual offenses law, which doesn't necessarily mean life in prison. However, he said in the absence of an indication from the judge on the matter, life would mean a calendar year. Wiley's sentencing comes 3 days ahead of a long-awaited verdict in the case of another high-profile bishop charged with unlawful sex with a minor, Pilgrim Baptist Church pastor Bishop Randy Fraser, who is expected to be sentenced on Friday. Fraser is accused of abusing his position of trust and engaging in a sexual relationship with a 16-year-old girl he was counseling between July 2005 and February 2006. He's facing 5 years in prison if convicted. However, the senior official says the magistrate may decide to send the matter to the Supreme Court for a longer sentence to be handed down. Meantime, Fraser's attorney has indicated that he will appeal if Fraser is convicted. It will also be up to the magistrate to grant or deny Bishop Fraser bail pending the appeal. This according to the senior official. All unionized teachers throughout the Bahamas are on amber alert. That's the word coming from President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Belinda Wilson. Wilson claims this is a result of stalled negotiations for their new industrial agreement. She informs ZNS News that the union's negotiating team has been meeting with education officials since July 7th. However, all proposals have been agreed to, except the non-economic issues. Wilson also told us the union filed a trade dispute against the Minister of Finance and the Ministry of Education.
The Bahamas Union of Teachers and the negotiating team, we are ready to begin negotiations on our finance. We are aware of what the global impact may be. However, we are saying to the government that they must come to the table because we said to them from day one that we want to negotiate our entire agreement. We've completed the non-economic issues. We're ready to discuss the finance. And I want to say right now that every member of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, under the sound of my voice, you are now placed on amber alert. Stay tuned for the next move.
Now, in response to this, Education Minister Desmond Bannister said negotiations for a new industrial agreement for the Bahamas Union of Teachers are not stalled, as both sides are still in talks with executive members of the union. Bannister gave this update on the negotiation process.
I get regular reports on the negotiations. There's no stalling as far as I know in the negotiations. And I indicated that I would not be When these negotiations started, I indicated that I would not be speaking in the media about the negotiations. But we have a team that is negotiating a package with the union that we believe is in the best interest of this country and the stability of this country and the stability of our education system. Every single civil servant has gotten paid. Public servants now will be getting their increments and will be getting other benefits at Christmas that were promised to them by the government. And so it's time, I believe, that we take a more mature approach to negotiating, to understand the times in which we now live in, and to be able to sit at the table as partners and deal with the circumstances that we are faced with now in the global economy. And when things get better, we'll be able to improve upon what we have done.
Well, still on education-related news, C.R. Walker Senior High School holding a ribbon-cutting ceremony today for its new computer lab. As Fern Carey tells us, a local corporate citizen also made a sizable donation to make it happen.
The 30 computers donated by Credit Suisse will benefit hundreds of students while enhancing C.R. Walker's computer program. Former C.R. Walker student and Credit Suisse executive Javon McIntosh encouraged students to use the computers to launch their future careers.
The quality of our tomorrow is determined by our efforts today. We certainly hope that the computer lab, which we have helped to improve, the very same computer lab that helped foster my love for technology, helps to enable you to shape your tomorrow.
With the goal of furthering education, Minister of Education, the Honorable Desmond Bannister, noted that the gift is timely.
They have determined that you are a school that can make a difference in the future of our country. And they have invested considerable funds in providing you with a computer lab. And that is so very important for us, not only to be computer literate, but to be able to get on those computers, to understand them fully, and to be able to communicate with the world.
Minister Bannister highlighted the fact that the Ministry of Education has set aside $10 million to advance projects that improve the way students learn, and he issued this challenge to C.R. Walker students.
And I'm asking you as students to come to your teachers and design projects that you believe can help improve your school. One school last year came up with an outstanding project that we were able to fund. And I was able to go to see that last week at that school, where we provided them with $20,000 for them to be able to do some things in their school. And now they have a wonderful little library area and a computer area. We're prepared to provide you with a grant at C.R. Walker to be able to help you do some things that improve your learning.
Fern Carey, ZNS News.